if Eddie will offer the date, which is early enough, close enough to now, we will take it. Otherwise, depends. But I'd love to see that fight, 100%. Otherwise, we wouldn't sign that fight.
No, of course. I mean, it's obvious that you both want the fight. Otherwise, you wouldn't have signed for it in the first place. But I would love to see that fight. Do you know what? Out of all of the fights, people ask me about which fight I was looking forward to seeing most out of the lockdown. That was up there, genuinely up there.
100%.
Brilliant fight.
We need to make more fights like that. And there are lots of rivalries like this across UK. Maybe not as big, but there's not even rivalry. You know the attractive thing about this fight? Luther Clay is on the app. Clay-Kongo had great amateur background, the golden boy that never had an opportunity. Someone just wrote a Jonah. I saw Jonah. You know the story of Jonah in Bible?
No.
Yeah? So, I mean, what they try to say, Chris, don't take it a wrong way, brother, because if you've got trust in God, you will overcome that. But what people reckon, that you are a bit unlucky when it comes to fights. Your fights get postponed, they get cancelled, shows get closed down, then pandemic comes in. And that's the situation. You know what? I used to think like this a little bit about myself because I had the security not turning up. Do you remember that thing? And
I remember.
This then coronavirus from Spain. My show in Barcelona on 13th of March was one of the earliest ones to get closed down. So I spoke to a few people in the UK. They're saying, why? Why? What's going on? And then a week later in England, bang, everything closed down. So, Chris, stay strong, brother. Honestly, I promise you, I will help you myself. If the fight won't take place or anything, I'll match you. I'll get you out to Russia, to Germany, to France. We're going to kick some asses there. I promise you. Don't worry about it. We'll
have to get Luther and Chris to do. You know what we could do? We could do like an Instagram live between both of them, and like have it as a sort of face-off. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
We can do that, but I tell you another problem. You know, Luther Clay is the nicest guy you can meet, yeah?
I know he's the nicest guy I can meet. But Chris and Luther are both very, very nice guys. But
I know.
To be a fighter and to be as good as both of them are, you have to have a little bit of dog in you. Which is
you know what he said to me? He goes, you know what? He goes, damn, I like Congo. He goes to me. Do you know what I mean? That's what he said to me. So Luther will fight anyone. And he has dog in him. And it's a bit of a rivalry and stuff like that. But yes, it's just with all in light of what's happening with us, guys, we're all on a lockdown. The life is shrinking on us. The vice of supremacy is shrinking. And we just got time to reflect. And this is a bit of a violent sport, really, boxing. I'm not a violent guy, you know. I love people. I read all these guys popping up. He's just Clay-Kongo supposed to fight my kid, and I love him. You know, I've got no malicious thing in me. I love you all, guys. We just need to find the ways to make money, haven't we? So,
of course.
So that's the situation. I mean, with broadcasters, as I said, all the big boys going to say, no, I'm going to wait for big arenas, for the quarantine being completely lifted. And I want all the crowds in the arenas for me to perform. But for us, for smaller promoters, for fighters with a profile who got 1 or 2 appearances on Sky or BT Sports a year, it's kind of a perfect opportunity. And for television, as lab rats and experiments of what it looks like in the studio and what kind of feedback you're going to get, these guys are perfect. And it's all within United Kingdom, because you will not be able to bring a foreign opponent for a very long time because I have to pass the quarantine. So therefore, Brits going to be fighting Brits. You know?
That makes sense. And I think that kind of level fight, a Congo versus Ben, Congo versus Penta, Congo versus Clay, Ben Congo, those kind of level fights would be ideal, it would seem to me. Ben Davison says we should get these fighters to shadow box each other over Instagram Live and the viewers score the rounds.
Typical trainer. Typical trainer.
It wouldn't make much difference to some of the judging that we've seen. We'll get Alejandro Roshin to judge it, Ben. We'll get Alejandro Roshin to judge it. Ben will like that. For those who don't know, Alejandro Roshin is the chap from the first Wilder fight. But yeah, Shakan Pitters has joined. Hello, Shakan Pitters.
Yeah, Shakan.
He can fight. He can fight a bit. Sophie Alice has joined. She can fight a bit. Who else have we got? I'm just trying to go through and see, because we've had a few fighters join. Ofer Jones can fight as well. He's an exciting prospect. Just trying to say hello. Right, okay.
Guys, keep fit and keep active, because the opportunity will come. Especially these days, like never before, you will have this clear chance. For some reason, I feel that. Because what do you reckon, Rob? Am I right, or they gonna jump straight into the big fights? Like,
no, of course they'll do something like studios first. And I was having this conversation with a friend of mine who's not really a big fan of boxing. Sporting icons, Al looking younger than Rob. Yeah, he is.
It's probably one of my people. I still don't pay.
I've still got the hair dye left. Al's run out. I've still got mine. What was I saying? Yeah, combat sports will be back before pretty much every other sport, in my opinion. We're not exactly and this goes for kind of, you've already seen like what Dana White had tried to do with the kind of the secret island and stuff like that. Like boxing, MMA, any kind of combat sport, in my opinion, will make serious efforts to get back before any other sport. We're hardly how should I put this? Boxing and combat sports don't really wait to dance to the sound of somebody else's music, if that makes sense. We're straight in there, and they will be pushing forward as soon as possible, which is good to hear.
Can I make an addendum?
Go on then.
Because it's a singular sport.
That's it, yeah. And we don't have a governing body either. So
there's no requirements of 11 on one side and 11 on another side and all this stuff, medical. So that's easier. And also, in light of us missing that so much, any fight we do, let alone Clay-Kongo against Luther Clay.
Yeah, of course.
There are lots of UK fights could be done relatively on budget. No bullshit, guys. I'm not putting your pulses down already in advance. No, but relatively on budget. Some great UK fights, like Anthony Tomlinson against someone, Luther Clay against Congo, Paddy Gallagher against someone. Even all the UK guys. Guys, on this small island, we've got so many fighters who can fight each other. Then other questions, there are lots of glory hunters who build their record on dead bodies, sell lots of tickets. Those kind of people obviously have financial value for the promoter, for the small hole promoter. I'm not talking about you guys. You're never going to fight anyone decent. In fact, we're going to keep you alive. We're going to keep you on the life support machine as long as you're going to generate us cash. I'll be honest. I'm talking on behalf of all UK promoters, so you know where you stand. Yeah? But for those who are real warriors and ready to fight, guys, this is the perfect opportunity. Perfect opportunity. In fact, Rob, I think you need to start a program of generating who's ready to fight, guys. Come on. Throughout, across all the weights, and let's see who is ready to fight. And I personally help you and put some fights together. I'm going to get teams together and see if they're ready to fight. Yeah, and we're going to Sky Television. Propose that to Hearn, Warren. Maybe he wants to try it in the studio. And that will be great budget fights. They can still get their television rights money and put some fights together. Let's find our first UK boxing guinea pigs. Who is ready to fight in the studio? Hands up.
Got a couple of questions here. One question for me, it's actually quite an interesting question that I have thought about. Jake O'Mahony says, would studio shows be a disadvantage to Boxing Social, Rob? Media pass limits, possibly. Yeah, possibly, but we don't need to be at the shows to do our job. Obviously, it helps, and interviews, etc., would be ideal. I don't know what they would do, whether they'd limit media passes or what, but at the minute, if boxing came back and I wasn't allowed to go to the shows, we would still be in a much better position than we are now with no shows. So I'm like anybody else, and Boxing Social, like anybody else, we'll wait until it's safe for us to do what we can do, and we wait for people to guide us. But yeah, would it be ideal if we couldn't go to the shows? No, but it's not ideal now where there's no shows. So you just have to kind of play the cards you're dealt, unfortunately.
Rob, if there's no people, we'll do 2.5 meters apart, the press seats, And you all guys can fit, as long as what the legislation, up to 50 people, up to 50 people will be tight. But up to 100 people, all we need is press to have the internet and share the online presence, share the pictures live with photographers and everything. So the world sees what's going on, because studio, we're already lacking spunk. We're already lacking atmosphere. So we need press there to create this virtual support. Do you understand what I'm saying? This virtual sharing. We need that, of course. I mean, being in the studio is bad enough, but I think for fighters, the presence of press and the teams and the promoter, still nerve-wracking experience will make you perform. As a musician, I know it's the same as an audition. It's easier for me was to perform in front of 1,000 people than in front of the jury of 5.
Yeah, I was just about to say it could make things more difficult for people in a way. It takes a lot of it out of there, because I mean, you mentioned earlier about Adam Booth saying about Josh Kelly. A lot of fighters, they rely on that crowd energy, or that certainly takes their performance up a couple of %, which is all you need at the top level. So if that could be, and similarly to, when a fighter goes to the ring for the first time and makes their professional debut, they always say about how it's different under the lights. Everyone would be going back into a completely new scenario where it would be the first time anybody's ever experienced it. So you can't really plan for that either.
It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy. Sorry, I lost my momentum of attention because I heard my children of each other on the staircase, and I wanted to go and be film father, but then
That's okay. I'm used to you zoning out when I talk. It's fine.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like Josh Kelly, someone like Josh Kelly need the crowd to vibe on. Absolutely needs it. And it's a massive pressure. It's like you exposed completely. There's no filters on you as a fighter. There's no atmosphere. And the judges, I tell you more, there's no distraction from outside. Your attention is fully on the ring, and you judge the performance. And you see,
you're not being influenced by the crowd.
100%, man. So that's the real craft. That's a studio craft. You know what it's like? When you sing live on stage and the Wembley, you can sing off tune and no one noticed pretty much. When you look back on the video footage, you'll be thinking, oh my God, I'm all over the place. Yeah. But at the time, people enjoying it. But people, you get scrutinized like you're within the studio environment. If you're not up to scratch, it will be very visible. All your skills, all your movement, your punching power, your boxing IQ will be so apparent because of the absence of the crowd. It's incredible. You know what? I'm actually getting excited about studio shows now. Do you know what I mean? I'm excited.
I'm excited about any kind of show at the minute.
Oh yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's funny because Latvia was open to do the events first because they lifted the quarantine. But then they got this legislation. You can't be accompanied more by one person. So that defeats everything. So, because I want to do some Latvian shows, fly some Brits in there. But anyway, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting situation. Bro. Very interesting. I can't say I can't wait to jump in it, but I'm ready.
I think that's got to be the attitude for everybody, isn't it, really?
Yeah, definitely. So let's run this poll with fighters. I mean, guys, because we're all preoccupied with families, we're having barbecue every other night and all that stuff. I know it's real, and we don't want to think about shit and there's heavy consequences, like allegedly falling from the sky every day. But let's put your names across. Send your names to me. Whoever wants to fight, let's just see them. As a matchmaker, I'm very interested to see who's available to fight and who would fight who in the studio. Let's see what's happening. Because we need that intel. It's a data. It's a very fashionable word, data. Let us gather the data of what's happening really in the UK scene. Who wants to fight? Whom? Or someone can text me. Someone like Tom Brennan text me, Al, I'm down for it. I'm ready to fight anyone. I'm sure Mike McKinson would ready to fight anybody. He's the kind of guy who will take any fight. You know? And there you go.
There we go, indeed. I'm going to try and get through. There's been a couple of questions popping up throughout. Let's try and get through those. A really itchy chin. Sorry. Here we go. Cerveza and boxing. That's beer and boxing. Good man. What about the doctors at the shows and medical issue? Hospitals already overcrowded. Well, I'd assume that none of this would happen until it was, we were allowed to have medical people at the fights.
And another thing about overcrowded hospitals, I heard different stories, you see. I don't want to conspiracialize. How can you say that? No, I don't want to say that.
I don't think it's a word. I know what you're saying. You don't want to make a conspiracy theory out of it.
It's done. What I'm trying to say, I don't want to be conspiracialist, but I heard there are wards with people with coronavirus, 7, 8. So there's wards 50 people, but hospitals in general are empty because apparently there's a threat of pandemic. So hospitals are not overcrowded. And trust me, not the doctors who's serving there on a daily basis with masks on around the patients, and nurses and just nurses. So Brock pointed out, before it's all clear off, we will not be able to do the shows. Surely, when the shows and studio environment will be allowed to go ahead, we will have the doctors, because you can't do without doctors, So, I mean, the only positive from studio event is budget. Less security, you don't need to worry about ticket sales, and you can put relatively unattractive in terms of global appeal fights, which will be taken as a God's gift. Anything we'll do right now, correct?
No, of course.
So there you go. There you go. So that's the good thing about this.
Survey Certain Boxing says, when will that be? July? I don't think anybody knows.
No one knows, man. No one knows.
Like, nobody knows. Certainly nobody that I've spoken to has any real hope of anything happening particularly soon either. So that's not ideal. Hirschbin says, guys, thoughts on the IBO? Their rankings are more reliable over the past few years. Al, thoughts on the IBO?
IBO rankings identical to BoxRec, pretty much. I get IBO rankings.
Aren't like half of the IBO titles vacant? Like a good percentage of the IBO titles are vacant, aren't they?
No, because
IBO or the number one challengers. There's no number one ranked challenger. It's because they're computerized, aren't they?
No, there are mandatory challenges, because Elmer Samedov, the fighter I'm working with, who's also Aliyev, the manager of Dania Yulisinov, and Majidov. He is actually, we've been offered a vacant, I don't want to say the weight category, the IBO World Championship, because he's allegedly a mandatory challenger now. So IBO, it's an up-and-coming. Look, I'm a firm believer, guys, never disregard anyone when they up-and-coming. Don't be an asshole. I tell you why. There's a first time for everyone. And first time for everything. It was a day when Barry Hearn never had no TV contracts, never had no snooker halls. He never had nothing. Same as with Eddie is a bit different, but same as with Frank Warren. So don't underestimate people and believe in human miracle. People capable to deliver. So be nice to everyone at any point in life. This is my personal thing. So the thing is, IBO, great organization, trying very hard for many years. I think they spun off WBO. Ed Levine is the greatest, gentlest man you can meet, the president. Really nice guy. Rob, you met him, correct?
I've met him, and we've done a feature on him as well.
Ed is a really, really nice guy. It's a legitimate organization. In terms of profile, yes. It's a fifth organization, considered to be a fifth organization. And I do recognize the IBO champion is a legitimate champion, because you can't become an IBO world champion if you're not any good. Let's face it. And Anthony Joshua is an IBO champion, correct? Yeah. So lots of good fighters for an IBO champion. So it's a legitimate fight. Maybe not as high profile as another 4, but it will get there one day. Depends. People make titles. People make titles. Personalities make titles, you know? So if Anthony Joshua keeps his IBO, it means there's a value in the title. Otherwise, he would say, I don't need it. I don't need to pay attention. I don't need every time I fight for it. So obviously, he wants to be an absolutely unified champion of the world. And you can't become, this day and age, a unified champion of the world without IBO. So therefore, IBO has a value. That's the answer.
Yeah, so right, I've just jumped on and I've found the IBO rankings. So the current champions that they have, half of their titles are vacant, which is, I knew there was something about it. So basically, the way it looks is basically half of the titles are vacant. More often than not, the general top 10 is what you will see on Ring Magazine because they both have computerized rankings. But the champions currently are at heavyweight, Anthony Joshua, cruiserweight, Kevin Lerena, light heavyweight, Dominic Bosel, who's obviously former European champion. It's vacant at super middle. Golovkin has it at middle. Jason Rosario at super welter, so light middle. Jeremias Ponce from Argentina at super light. And then at lightweight, super featherweight, super bantamweight, it's all vacant.
Hold on. At welterweight is Farmela.
It's welterweight, it's when?
At welterweight, it should be Farmela.
Oh, these rankings must need updating.
What does it say?
What does it say about what?
Welterweight. What does it say at welterweight on IBO?
Okay.
Who's the champion, welterweight IBO champion? Sebastian Farmela.
Maybe this hasn't been updated because it had somebody else. Hang on, one sec. Albert, rather, not Alvin. Yeah, Sebastian Fornella. Okay, so so I had old rankings, so I've got the updated rankings, but still a lot of them are vacant. Super middleweight vacant.
Go again from Joshua, then Kevin Lerena,
Joshua, Kevin Lerena, Dominic Bosel. Super middle's vacant. Golovkin at middle.
Yeah.
Vacant at super welter. Formella has it at welter.
Yes.
Jeremias Nicholas has it at 140. Lightweight is vacant. Super feather vacant. Feather vacant. Super bantam vacant. Bantam, Michel Banquez. Super flyweight, Gideon Buffalese. Flyweight, Maximo Flores. Light flyweight, minimum weight is Nokasanti Joy. So yeah, White Rhino looking well out. You look like shit. Cheers. Huh?
White Rhino on us.
Thanks, Dave. Cheers, mate.
How are you? Oh, that guy, man. Oh, what level of fighters is realistic for studio shows? The good ones.
Joined late. Ben Faruqi's joined late. We've had this conversation 50 times, Ben.
What's going on, Ben? What have you've been cooking, man? What's happening? Working that beard, pal. I love it. White Rhino is a good man. I've seen his shadow boxing in the garden. I like the shots, Dave. Proper good man. White Rhino, something about him beyond boxing.
Tell us a story about Dave, because obviously you took Dave over to Paris to fight Tony Yoka.
I did. I never knew he was on that. You know what I mean? I knew the shots, his uniform, his boxing shots with roses and everything. It was, Dave, no shit, one of the best boxing gear I have ever seen on the fighter. He was looking $1 million coming out fighting Tony Yoka. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, it's a different fight now. So I wanted to do something. Zelfa Barrett, yes. Alex Delmani, Martin Joseph Ward. I have been instructed by the kid in Spain. His name is Musa Golam. He is a super featherweight. Check him up on Box Break on YouTube, guys. He is begging me to make any of these fights. He is begging me. He is a WBO top 10, I believe, rated fighter. He's begging me. He goes, "Out, give me Martin Joseph Ward. Give me Alex Gilmagani. Give me Zelfa Barrett." He wants, guys, any of you I just mentioned, he wants you. So, but I know I'll be dismissed if I'll tell Eddie, I'm going to say, listen, there's a kid in Spain, a bit of a monster. He fancies himself. Let's go. Let's make that fight. You see, another thing, guys, let me tell you about the tides of deprivation and UK build-up, if you're interested. There's a new concept.
Come on then now.
There are much easier ways of make UK fighters well-known across the world and rank them in top 15s of every governing body. How I know? I've done it many times. But for some reason, in the UK, everyone loves a melting pot. This one needs to fight this guy. That guy needs to fight that. I understand ticket sales, yes. Ratings, of course. The rivalries, the cities, the towns. But in terms of me getting that belt, and I'm a UK fighter, you've been built far long, guys. Your road is too long. And that's not the shortest shortcut to go and fight Canelo. No, no. Because I want to be more honest this year, because I learned about many people, lots of partners I have. I've seen your skin, guys. I've seen who you are. And now I'll be honest, I'll be my own man. Siesta will have to take power into his own hands, I think, this year. After this lockdown, that's my another resolution. We have to work. Siesta boxing have to function. I have to offer my services to good fighters. I know how to build a fighter. I know how to take him to the world level. I've been there with 5,000 euros in my pocket coming to Latvia, saying this guy, Myris Bredis, will become a world champion. And people said, quickly call 911, let's isolate this kid as soon as... Do you know what I mean? So there are lots of... Our trade is full of secrets, guys, but all you need to do, stay in the gym and be ready. You know?
Do you think that this lockdown could work in your favor in a way?
Why? Tell me. I never, because guys, I'm apologizing. And by the way, you think that this is Siesta. What? He keeps talking over Rob Tebbutt.
I don't think anybody's thinking that.
I'm on a lockdown. I have no communication with my boxing fellow professionals. Sorry. Ask me. You said, do I think it comes as an advantage for me? I said, yes. Expand on that, please.
From my perspective? It's not really from my perspective, is it?
Yeah. Why did you ask that question?
Well, I asked that question to you because people have asked me that question. Like, obviously, we're in the same industry, sort of, but not really, because obviously I'm on the media end of things. But I look at it as an opportunity where it kind of has leveled the playing field a little bit. Everybody's struggling, and now you're going to see, in my opinion, kind of who can kind of pick up the slack when everybody's struggling. So that's kind of how I've looked at it from my point of view, and I just wondered if it was similar for you as one of the smaller promoters.
Identical. Let me tell you, everyone in show business, and boxing is show business, we all in our business know who's real and who's not. We all know who's full of shit, who's a scumbag, who's a lowlife, who's a really good and decent individual. We all know. But what do? We learned over the years to coexist, can we? Because the dollar, the ching-ching, the bread on the table is a very important aspect. Within the boxing industry, including television, everyone knows who is capable to deliver. Everyone knows who's capable to deliver. You know? And everyone knows you might have great fighters, but you don't have capability or articularity to deliver that. You can't, maybe. But there are great managers in the UK who's got 40, 50, 60 fighters. They can fill any show. And lots of the kids sell really good tickets and everything, but they don't get TV deal. Why? Because the manager is a very nice guy, but he's introverted. He's not out there. Do you know what I mean? Like salesmanship, like, I don't know, like Eddie Hearn, arguably one of the best salesmen of our generation. Or, do you know what I mean? Or Frank Warren was an incredible legacy and things like that. I'm trying hard. It's easy for me because I'm foreign. I can talk gibberish and then blame my accent. No problem. You know what I mean? So that's the situation. So it is really leveling the playing field, and great. I mean, great news. I mean, as I said to you, if we just think about boxing, fantastic news for boxing. Yes, people now understand their value. Fights are sitting with itchy fists and saying, "Man, I wish I can fight now. I wish." I'll bet now the new concept coming, probably the equalization of the purses. Maybe purses were overpaid. Maybe just don't pay too much money. Pay too much money. Maybe it needs to be a bit cheaper. I mean, in terms of the elite fighters, yes, they deserve. But guys, let me tell you that the risk of death, not any less of a 6-round or 4-rounder between two nobodies than two very big fighters. Do you agree, Rob?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. You can die for 1,300 pounds, and you can die in the ring for 7 million. When you're dead, you're dead. You know, so the concept is interesting. Is interesting. I mean, but I do believe the stables don't have depth. Certain stables. I mean, people have to go to United States to draw some talented personalities in boxing to fulfill the bills, commitments with television. I mean, yes, we have Anthony Joshua, is a great name. Tyson Fury, fantastic, massive names. But it's so hard. It's speculations, people trying to make that fight. It's just, and so much politics, so much bullshit, people not telling the truth. One man, we all know, but Rob, you and I, we know what's going on really. We do. I mean, the guys, maybe some guys of you don't know, they take it as a serious. The guys, it's a pantomime all throughout. Yeah. If I want to fight someone, I will fight someone. Listen, there's enough money in the world to pay Anthony Joshua a purse and Tyson Fury. Is it desirable fight? Yes. How desirable? Unbelievably desirable. People will overpay 10 times to see that fight. So money, not an object. Egos stop people from making fights, from fighting each other. Do you know what I mean? Ego. You think Tyson Fury, no, Colin Joshua saying, let's get this number, not that number. Let's get it on. Fighters can do it. But now this whole massive layer of logistics as a promoters, freeloaders. No, I'm a promoter myself. Yeah, but do your fucking job, that's all. Don't stop the fights from happening. It's not about you. No one gives a fuck about you. It's about fighters. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. And it needs to be. I mean, he's just look, his values is over amateur. Oh, he's a great amateur. He's more expensive than this guy who never had no experience. It doesn't work like this. I've seen the great pedigree amateurs getting knocked out by journeymen, left, right, and center across the world. Across the world. I've seen it. Let me tell you another thing. A good seasoned kickboxer has more value in professional boxing debut than 150 fights amateur. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Pain ratio is different. The level of combat is different. The understanding of danger is different. Do you understand what I'm saying? Amateur boxing, as I said, is like alpinism, cliffhanging. Amateur boxing is with security ropes. Professional boxing, no, you're by yourself, on your fingers, at the end of the cliff. So the kickboxers are much more prepared for that thing because they have a leg kick, shin kick in their heads, being knocked out or whatever. Do you understand what I'm saying? The pain, understanding of pain is different. So Myris Brady's kickboxer, Marco Huck, kickboxer, Alexander Povetkin, kickboxer, Dillian White, kickboxer. I can
Vitaly Klitschko.
Huh?
Klitschko.
Of course, guys, both kickboxers. So obviously, people go say, "Oh, what about Tyson Fury?" Guys, don't bring me Sting, Peter Gabriel, Muhammad Ali, and people like. Don't bring the biggest people of the universe, the most unique characters on this planet. You can't, because it's one in a million. Tyson Fury is one in a million with this lankiness, weight, ability to move, understanding, eloquency, confusion. He's a genius, a Nicholas Tesla of boxing. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can't judge You can't bring me all the time on everything I say. Say, what about Tyson Fury? What Tyson Fury? Oh, what about Sun? What about God? You know what I mean? But overall, kickboxers are much more prepared for the serious dogfight than the amateur fighters. So saying, oh, Pat McCormack, can't wait. When will he finish his amateur career so I can snatch him to the boxing? Doesn't guarantee you nothing. Doesn't guarantee you nothing. Canelo, prime example. Do you know what I mean? Again, now I've been name dropping. You know
No,
what I mean?
it's true. I was in Vegas last month, or a month ago, and I was talking to Salas about Robeisy Ramirez. And Robeisy Ramirez is double world champion, double Olympic gold, and he lost his debut. Lost the 4-rounder on his debut.
There you go. There you go. Proof is in the pudding. Josh Boatse, very talented guy. Dog. Loves fight. Loves fight. No atypical. No, right. Just some message here. I will get back to He's a fighter. He's not a typical Olympian, isn't Boatse? He likes to fight. I mean, the reason he's been spotted in the scene, stoppages, and that kind of flat-footed assassination style. And that's why he's so good. But I do believe they're taking a bit slow with Josh. Guys, you're taking a bit slow with him. He gets rid of people in the first minute of first round. Bang, 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 bang. Example, Ali Ismailov, 3-0 now. The guy I manage. Yeah, sparred with Josh, had nice spar. 254 amateur fights. On his debut, he fought guy something like 11-11. Second fight, he fought Dmitry Sukhotsky, the guy who fought Adonis Stevenson for the world title. Second fight. Fight number 3, Sergei Yekimov, 18-1. That's a build-up. That's what they done. Lomachenko, Lipinets.
It seems like pretty much every single, well, not every single, obviously, but it seems to be a growing trend with the Eastern Bloc fighters, like World of Boxing fighters like that. The Eastern Bloc in general, they push them quickly. I mean, you look at Beterbiev. When did Beterbiev fight Tavoris Cloud? 5 fights in?
Something like that.
So he smashed them around the ring.
Usyk.
Usyk, yeah.
Прости, Usyk. Russian we say Usyk. It's just Usyk is a kind of thing. Stick around. You say Usyk, the same. Ahmad Aliyev, the same. Madrimov, the same.
Yeah.
You need to have pre-calculated understanding. Joshua Boatse is good enough to take life away with an IBO title from Dominic Berzo right now. And that will be a heavy stoppage. Round 4, round 7. Do you know what I mean? There you go. Make the fight. Have the glory. Give Boatse that fight. Give that SCE, whatever it is, German, Ulfstein for promotions. Give them the money. Have the fight. Boatse will eat him alive.
Because I know they were trying to make the Caparello fight back end of last year.
That's a stupid fight. Who gives a fuck about that Southpaw Caparello? Who even wants that fight? Why Caparello? Why? That's the way. Look, if you have the money, if you're matchroom boxing, DAZN, Sky, you've got the money. Why Caparello? Offer that fight to Dominic Berzo. Yes, you're going to say 500 grand. Fuck you, pay. Pay. Do you know what I mean? Big fight, great. Boom. But Josh is very strong, but not ready for that top 4. Not ready to enter Soviet Union bloc yet. So, but then you need to be careful. Then, when you've got that IBO title or whatever, do Caparello defense, this and that, build them up. But give him a next level. Give him a next level. Guy is ready to go for the next level. He's too accurate. Too reserved. And I know politically what's going on, and I understand there are few people involved and the opinions are split. But the fight is the one ultimately. The time is ticking. Life is passing. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's ready. Joshua Boatse, in his debut against Carlos Mena, was as good as 2 years later he stopped Andrei Pokumeyko. There's no progression in him. He always was brilliant, explosive. Yes, chin to be up in the air. Yes, it's dangerous, but that's his style. That's what makes it exciting. You can't suddenly teach the guy for 15, 10 years like that, or something. It's never going to happen. He needs to either learn, either needs to someone spark him out, or get him knocked down, or whatever, for him to understand that. You can't explain to little kids, don't put your fingers into the extension plug. I mean, you can, but the best idea is to remove the plug altogether, but we're in the wrong game. Right? So that's the thing. Lots of stuff, lots of the way the fighters got built is either throwing under the bus or too scary, like a scary cat, this and this, useless. Guys, stop fighting bums with negative records. If you think you're any good, get yourself a competition. That's how you're going to learn. There's no learning curve. There's no reason. Listen, you go through the camp for 10 weeks and then you go bash someone out 1-13 in one round. You just wasted resources of your body for 10 weeks. You're 10 weeks older, 10 weeks more injured, 10 weeks more prone to anything. Do you know what I mean? Why are you fighting people like this? Fight someone half decent. Give yourself 60% of a chance. That's all. And you always prevail. In your 7th or 8th fight, you'll be like a dog on fire on the garbage field, ready to take serious names. That's what I did with Luther Clay. That's exactly how I've done with Luther Clay. I took Luther to Abkhazia because it was my friend's show. And I was guaranteed that refereeing, judging will be unbiased. But I was involved in overthrowing in the old Russian Federation, I'll be honest with you, just as an advisor saying, yes, I really supported new federation and everything. But those guys who were there, they were old-timers. And that Luther Clay's loss was a revenge to me for getting involved into the Russian boxing politics. I know that. I've been told that. But that one loss, which is not real on Luther's record, straight away put idiots matchmakers into the false sense of security. Oh, this guy lost. Look who he lost. Basil Tamayan in Georgia. Oh, can be beaten. He can be beaten. Beautiful. Plays well. So it's just like, it's mechanics of that. I mean, the matchmaking is an art form. It's an intuitive art. It's like journalism. You're the brilliant journalist. You're the brilliant social media journalist, the writer, whatever, because you know, it's not like you can't teach that thing. You need to be intuitive and understand. You need to see the jawline or whatever, or you can see it in boxing. It's just like there are attributes about fighters, the way they fight, where it becomes apparent how far they're going. At the very early stage, yes, it could be surprised because I said never underestimate the human miracle. People are capable to surprise you at any time. So be nice to everyone. Again, we spoke about it.
Mm. All right, Al, I'm going to try and get a few more questions in before I have to go because I've got to interview Mauricio Sullivan in about an hour, and I'd like to.
My good Mexican brother, please. Yeah,
I will.
Yeah.
So, do we have any questions for Uncle Al before we let him go?
Things been popping in, but it's just someone saying Andy Lee never fought anyone with illusion. Andy Lee is a legend, man. Andy Lee is a legend. This was the guy who could surprise you at any minute. Would be losing the fighters and bang, lights out. Thank you.
And that also, I mean, it makes a good point there. Never fought anyone with a losing record. Had his career guided by Emmanuel Stewart. He wouldn't have seen the value in him fighting anybody who he could just bowl over. He fought Carl Daniels after, I think, 7 or 8 fights, or it was early on in his career. He had good tests at good times, and he lost. He lost to Brian Vera in a fight that he wasn't necessarily ready for. He said that he didn't feel, in hindsight, but it ended up making him the fighter he was. So that's the difference.
Another thing I wanted to add, Rob, to the trainers, guys, boxers give their life to you. And there's new technologies available, new format of understanding of human body and the game in general that requires must this day and age. And I've seen it within the UK boxing scene. Lots of trainers still are very on the old boxing tradition. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah? There's lots of stuff available now to evaluate where your fighter is right now. Absolutely. Physically, psychologically, mentally, on every single aspect, technically. So this needs to be implemented more and more. But I know a few trainers who possess that knowledge and they keep it as a secret because it gives them a leeway, it gives them an upper hand. So, look, we can talk endlessly, but I love boxing and I love fighters. I think people need to get into the real fights. And I tell you more, the closer the fight, the more safer this fight is for the fighters, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolute true. Well-matched fight will have less damaging outcome on the fighters than someone getting knocked out in the first round.
Mm.
When someone getting knocked out in the first round, neither of those gain anything. You just knock the bum out and you don't know how really good you are good or not. And someone just got damaged. There you go.
All right, Al, got a couple of questions we're going to whiz through. Gloves and Glory Boxing. Any top tips for a new promoter in Uganda? I'm actually British, but trying to raise the game here again.
Sorry, where do you want to promote? Uganda or UK?
Just give him a general tip of promoting. By what he said, I assume he means promoting in Uganda.
Uganda is a funny place. I know loads of Ugandan fights. It's an interesting place, man. You know what it's like, mate. Patience and get some money together. This is too big, I can tell you now. Yeah. Patience. Yeah. Oh, Uganda, Africa, man.
Rob Lawler 94 says, have you done much work with Frank Warren? If so, does it differ much to working with Eddie?
I haven't done any. You know what? You will not believe that, but I haven't actually met personally Frank Warren yet. I know Francis very well, his son. I know George Warren. I met Andy Ailing in few occasions. We've done few fights. The last fight I made with Frank Warren was Paul Kamangi against Harry Davis. That was a stoppage in the second round. And in fact, you know what funny? I think it was 5th of May, and I had 7 fights on that day across the world, including Chuginov fought in Uzbekistan, Kamanga fought there, Aram Amirkhanian fought for the WBA in Kiev. It was like crazy, but I was in Tashkent in Uzbekistan. So
I was at Josh Taylor versus Victor Postol that day.
Yeah, it was, yes, correct. No.
No,
Oh,
it was Josh Taylor, Josh Taylor, Ryan Martin?
Something. It was crazy. It was like I had personally 7 fights in different areas. Yeah, so Frank Warren done a little bit of work. Heavily was involved with Matchroom always, but not with Warren. Somehow, I don't know, just ended up really busy with Matchroom. Never had chance to work with Warren really, you know? So don't really know what it's like, can't comment. I mean, obviously they're one of the biggest promoters. We were together at Yard Kovalov. So I had a couple of guys on the undercard. So I don't know. No, maybe, you know what? There's a first time for everything that we discussed. I mean, you never know. You never know. Maybe Frank will be calling me saying, "Al, I like you. Let's do some matching." And I'm going to say, "Frank, no problem. Let's meet. Let's talk. Let's see each other eye to eye. Let me see what you like." You know what I mean?
I'll be sure to let him know next time I speak to him, Al.
Yeah, say Siesta said hi. You're going to say, who the fuck is
Okay, Al, right, I think we're about there, mate, so I'm going to let you go. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks to everybody in the chat who stopped by and watched and asked questions for Al. Do appreciate everyone's time. So, yeah, Al, if you've got any final words, let's hear them now, mate.
Guys, I never advertise my Instagram. What's my Instagram? I don't even know. Basically, where we are now, please follow me on Instagram. Need your support. I want to do some good work this year after the lockdown. Revitalize new man. Stay fit, stay in the gym. Let's create some opportunities. Love you all, guys. Look after your families. I know some of you thinking it's all bullshit, this corona. Partly myself, I'm not sure how I feel about it, but let's stay indoors just to make sure we're not causing any problems. Okay? Guys, I love you. Rob, thank you, brother, as always.
Okay, yeah? Man. I'll catch up with you later. I'll give you a call later.
I'm going to go and eat my late breakfast.
All right, mate.
Thank you, bro. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.